Hi, I'm Marc Cunningham with Grace Property Management. What is going on with the Denver rental market? As we look towards the new year, it's very interesting if we look at some actual statistics on what has happened this past year with the Denver rental apartment market specifically. Now, it's important to know that we're talking about Denver, because when we say Denver, we can mean a lot of things. Some people mean Denver Metro, some people mean the suburbs. What do we mean by Denver? So what we're looking at specifically is the apartment rental community in downtown Denver area specifically. So as we look at that area and we look at the past year, we want to look specifically from September 2017 to September 2018. In the last 12 months, what do you think rental rates have done in the Denver area? Now, before we answer that question, what's interesting is if we look nationwide over the course of the United States, we need a baseline. So nationwide, rental rates in the last 12 months have increased 1%. So what that means is if you owned an apartment and it was renting for $1,000 a month last year, with a 1% increase, it'd be renting for $1,010 a month, 12 months in, so right now. Now, what about Denver? If the nationwide average has been 1%, and we all hear how hot the Denver rental market is, we would expect the Denver rental market to have, what, maybe a 10, 15% increase? Well, actually, it's 0.1%. Not 1%, 1/10 of 1%. Now, that's not much. That means if you had a property renting for $1,000 a month 12 months ago, today it's renting for $1,001. Statistically, no change. Now, what's the reason for that? Before we look at that reason, though, it's even more interesting to look at a metro area close, which is Aurora. Aurora is actually down 0.8 of 1%. That means your rent in Aurora is less today than it was 12 months ago. Now, the reason for that, we believe, is simply overbuilding. Drive through Aurora, drive through Denver, and what will you see dotting the skyline? A lot of cranes. There's a lot of new supply coming on board, and it's all a supply and demand game. So when supply exceeds demand, we see this. We see rental rates starting to drop, which is exactly what we're seeing in Aurora, and very, very flat. Now, not only are things not flat, but we have to keep this into consideration as well, inflation. Because I can just about guarantee that for all the landlords out there in the last 12 months, their insurance has gone up, their taxes have gone up, their homeowner association dues have gone up, and what they're paying the plumber to come out and fix the toilet has gone up. So when we look at real rates of rent increase after inflation, we actually see that landlords are making less than they were 12 months ago. And that's a scary thing for investors coming into the Denver market. Now, a couple quick other areas to consider. These are municipalities that have had rent increases in the past 12 months. So Brighton's been up over 4%, Broomfield's been up a healthy 3%, and Thornton is about 2.6%. These are the highest metro areas, the suburb areas, that have rent increases over the last 12 months. So when we hear all this talk about tenants being priced out of the market and landlords are just making a lot of money, that's not really the truth. And all tenants need to do is go to Aurora and they'll be paying less than they were 12 months ago. Now, the other big thing happening right now as it relates to landlords and investment property in Denver specifically is housing choice vouchers, which was previously referred to as Section 8 housing. So here's a trivia question. Is it legal for landlords to refuse to accept Section 8 or subsidized housing? So if an applicant were to call a landlord and say, Mr. Landlord, I want to apply to rent your property, but I'm on a Section 8 program, they would say, do you accept Section 8? Now, can that landlord say, no, I don't accept Section 8? No longer can they say that in the city of Denver. You see, just recently, the city of Denver City Council passed an ordinance, and this ordinance made it illegal to discriminate against residents based upon their source of income. That means landlords can no longer consider source of income when it comes to an applicant. That means they must take Section 8. Now, this is a big deal that's happening in Denver. This goes into effect January 1st of 2019. Now, you can argue if you like that, if you don't like it, but it's going to make a significant change. And HUD is being aware of this. The city of Denver is being aware of this. So if you are a landlord and you own rental property within the city of Denver, when that applicant calls and says, do you take Section 8 for your property, you must now say, absolutely, yes we do. Now, they still have to meet your criteria, there's still qualification process, and it's a pretty lengthy process, but just know that that must be allowed in your property. If you've got questions on that, feel free to give us a call. Grace Property Management, we would love to answer whatever questions you have and help you out with your rental property.